You know, when I first imagined what this evening would be like, it's very much what it is like now. Friends coming together, sharing stories, eating delicious food, some good drink, amazing entertainment. The good thing is that lots of people have been enjoying each other's company. I just ask that you, if you can hear my voice, please stop talking. Please. I was recently asked, what is it about housing families? What's the essence of housing families? And I believe the essence of what we do has to do with compassion. And so I want to tell you a couple of short stories about people who have modeled compassion in my life. The first is my best friend Dave's mom. Her name's Mrs. Weigel. She passed away a little while ago, and as you'd expect in a kind of wake, we were reminiscing about our childhood days. You know, particularly the fall here when you're raking leaves, she would get them into a great big pile, and Dave and I would go through and we would kick them all over the place, and she would keep her smile and let us do our thing. Or the time when we were fishing and we had the can of worms that she discovered a week later in the laundry room, all right? Or sledding, and the snow's going to be coming before we know it, and just dropping all of our wet, snowy clothes on the floor and running away and having her clean up. She was really very much a second mom to me. And as we were reminiscing about our childhood, there was something that came to the forefront. It was really about not just our childhood. See, there was this other woman, Karen, who was a part of our life. She came up from the inner city because Mrs. Weigel chose to be a volunteer host family to give kids from the inner city a chance to have an experience they wouldn't otherwise, like have a yard to run around in, as opposed to a city street. Or that experience of being able to run after the ice cream truck once you heard the bells coming, or the song on the repeat going over and over and over again. Or that experience of the very first time of capturing that very first firefly. Those are really cool memories. See, what Mrs. Weigel was doing was giving an opportunity for a different experience, to show her that although she was poor, that there could be a possibility of a different life for her in the future. She currently is married, has kids, and is doing wonderfully well. The other person that came to mind was Denise. See, Denise and I were like sisters and brothers. Now, I have four brothers. I don't have any sisters, but we fought and we laughed just like we were brothers and sisters. Well, she had some hard times, and Mrs. Weigel invited her in to live with her. Now, Mrs. Weigel already had 2 teenagers to work with. But instead, what Mrs. Weigel did is she said, you know what? This is a person in need who needs a safe place to call home. And this will be that place for her. It was pretty remarkable. So on that day when we were having these fond thoughts and thinking about what is it that makes her so great, it was her simple deeds, her simple acts of kindness. Her greatness is that she walked quietly among us, not looking for any fanfare, not looking for that pat on the back. She just simply loved us. And those were the fond thoughts we were thinking about, the gift she gave to us during her long life. The other person is this. Do you remember the show Cheers? Right? Cheers. And when the actor would come down the steps and you would open the door, what would they yell? Norm! Exactly. Well, I have a college reunion coming up, and I'm looking forward to going there and seeing one of my favorite professors, Dan Riley. He was one of these characters who you knew where he was by his boisterous laugh. And when you sat down with him, he had this huge smile on his face. His cheeks would just roll up and get a little red and a sparkle in his eyes. Kind of sounds like Santa Claus, right? Well, what he would do is he would engage in conversation. He was a wonderful storyteller. He would say things that were really interesting, particularly when he would pause and say, "What's really going on with you?" And in that moment, you realize this was a person you could trust, someone you could tell, I'm struggling a little bit, whether it be with schools or maybe just with a relationship or just finding one's way in college and in life. He was there to tell a story, and then through that storytelling, I was able to find that solution, that inner strength to overcome whatever the issue was. Now the connection here between Dan and Mrs. Weigel is this sense of compassion. There's this line, this thread through what they do in their lives. And specifically, it's very much what we do with our children's program. Because what we do is we're interested in creating a safe place for people to express what's going on in their life. Because these children are coming to us very lonely, tired, sometimes depressed, isolated, and they don't know where to go. They don't have a safe place to talk to. So this is an opportunity for them to come to us, and we help them find their inner strength to be able to overcome whatever the adversity is in their life. Now, someone recently asked me, hey, so why do you work with the homeless? Why homeless families? And part of it is because my life has been very blessed with people who have modeled giving back. My parents, for example, friends, relatives, Mrs. Weigel, Dan Riley. And it's their simple acts of kindness that I realize, this world can be pretty harsh at times, and if we could do simple things, that would be really cool. Because there are children in this world who need a safe place to call home. There are families who are trying to do the best they can with what they have, but they need a little extra support. And it's that compassion that really, 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 I am so fortunate to work with staff who bring this into their life every day. Because they humbly, quietly, without fanfare, bring a smile to a family's life. That mother, that father, those children. They do it because they believe that they can make a difference in the world, and they do. They do. Because one of the things we want to do is prevent intergenerational poverty. One family at a time, one child at a time. Thank you. See, I don't think children should have to worry about where they're going to sleep and whether it's going to be safe or not. I don't think that we should be comfortable with the fact that the average age of a homeless person in Massachusetts is 8 years old. Now, there is a wonderful, wonderful group of people here tonight. And what I am hoping for is that you can feel compassion for 36% of homeless kids who could possibly repeat a grade. Show some compassion, feel that compassion, perhaps for the 90+% of homeless mothers who are trying to recover from extreme emotional or physical abuse. The compassion to truly work with families who are looking to work for themselves to have an affordable house that they could call home. See, that feeling of compassion that I trust is among this group is here to be able to help us do more. See, we've been able to prevent 240 evictions to date. We have served 2,400 families in our 25 years. 5,500 children are better off because we're here. We continue to make a difference because of the support that's in this particular room. Well, thank you for that too. Tonight, we're here about an offer. See, if you invest in us, housing families, there is a return. That return is a healthier community, a safer community, a community where people are proud to be able to say, this is home. There are many ways you can get involved in housing families. One of the ways, you could run the Boston Marathon for us, or ride in the Rodman Ride for Kids. Marathoners. You can get involved and learn more about us 24/7 on the website, Facebook. We're tweeting too, LinkedIn, many different ways. What we're most interested in is your involvement in the community to get involved with us. And if we can do that, I think we can create a truly safe place that really makes a difference in this world, one family at a time, one child at a time. I'd like to thank you for coming tonight. It's really a pleasure to have you.